Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Warrant Officer Steve Weaver. We warmly welcome the family of Private Augustus Rosanius Peterson, whose story will be told shortly. We're also honoured to welcome Vice Admiral Ari Jandavad, Director, Defence Material Organisation, the Netherlands. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony around Australia. During the ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors. Please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Augustus Pedersen, who died of wounds while fighting in France during the First World War. Augustus Rosanus Pedersen was born in 1888, one of 7 children of Sven and Hanna Pedersen. The Swedish-German Pedersen family had emigrated to Australia from Kiel in Germany in the years before the war. Augustus was born starting a new life in Holmley near Kingaroy in southeast Queensland. After attending Kingaroy State School, Augustus worked as a farmer, mostly likely producing the peanuts and the wheat for which the area is known. He was actively involved in Kingaroy Rifle Club and paraded part-time with the Queensland Mounted Infantry. Pedersen enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force at Maryborough in October 1916, and after a period of training at Enoggera near Brisbane, sailed for England and with reinforcement group for the 26th Battalion. After months of further training on the Salisbury Plain near Wiltshire, Augustus sailed for France and joined the 26th Battalion in a camp near Bapaume in July 1917. When the battalion moved north to the Belgians several weeks later, Augustus was sent to the 2nd Army Observation and Sniping School, where he spent 3 weeks honing his skill in scouting, observation and marksmanship with telescopic sights. He returned to the battalion in September, just before it moved up to the line to take part in the 3rd Battle of Ypres. The 26th Battalion was involved in a number of actions throughout the British offensive, which intended to reclaim the North Belgian coastline from the German army. Pedersen fought at Main Road on the 20th of September and Broodseinde on the 4th of October, and spent several weeks holding position in the area known as Tokyo Ridge. The battalion was relieved in early November 1917, moving to Walker's Camp, where the German artillery bombarded them with Blue Cross gas, permeated with small box respirators and caused uncontrollable sneezing and coughing. While the gas was not lethal, it made Pedersen violently sick and resulted in his evacuation to England for treatment and recovery. He spent several months in the hospital at the military at Edmondson in Middlesex and did not return to France until March 1918. Pedersen returned to the 26th Battalion at one of the most critical periods of the war. Following the withdrawal of Russia from the war, the German army mobilised millions of troops to launch a massive offensive in France that intended to split the British and French armies. Along with the Somme River, the 26th Battalion was rushed south to defend the strategically vital city of Amiens, after which it held positions south of the Somme near Villers-Bretonneux. In preparation for the imminent Allied offensive, the 26th Battalion was holding position near the village of Franz-Villers, where they became under yet another gas bombardment by the Germans. A gas shell exploded among the work party, of which Pedersen was a part, the steel fragmentation seriously wounding him in the stomach and lower hip. And he again was evacuated to England, where he spent a lengthy period in hospital. A medical board deemed Pedersen medically unfit to return to the front and approved his return to Australia in August 1918. Less than a month later, he was convalescing in London when he was admitted to the King George Hospital, suffering from vomiting and sharp abdominal pain in the area of his wound. The shell fragment had caused an obstruction, which the doctors corrected during an operation, but he never recovered. He died 2 days later. Aged 30 at the time of his death, Augustus Pedersen was given a military funeral at Brookwood Military Cemetery, where a bugler played the last post. Augustus Pedersen is listed on the honour roll to your left among more than 60,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Augustus Pedersen, who gave his life for us, our freedom, and in the hope of a better world. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and good evening.